Okay, guys, so getting towards the end here, I want to talk about psychology. Initially, I was not going to get into this, and I figured, it's a whole other subject, and I'm just talking about charts and technical stuff here, and the method and some psychological thing, on a personal level. That's up to the individual to figure out. But I think it's worth making a video now that I think about it, and to completely ignore it may mislead you anyway. So I'll give you my take, what's worked for me, what I've learned. Psychology. All right. So the first thing I want to say is that you need to learn what you're doing before you can even think about this. So, you can't really follow rules if you're not clear about what the rules are. If you're not clear about what the rules are, you're still learning, you're still questioning what you're doing, then it's hard to just say, I'm following a rule, I'm breaking a rule. Getting into the realm of, it's not really questionable what I'm doing, so I can at least be aware. I can sort of, keep myself in check and make sure I'm doing proper things and so on. You'll make mistakes and all that. You'll rush entries, you'll rush exits, you'll mess with your stop loss too much. All this stuff has to be worked out as you're learning the method. So once you get to the point where you feel confident about the method, and the only thing that's really been a mistake is, well, I rushed this trade or some sort of psychological thing. My point is, it's usually, it should be the last thing. So I've been doing great. My entries are right. My analysis is right. I'm finding the right trades. I can do all this stuff now on a repetitive basis. But I notice I'm doing et cetera, as far as, psychology. I get too stressed out. I'm sort of manic depressive. When I win, I'm too happy. When I lose, I'm too upset and depressed. Anything beyond, the regular, following of the method technically. Last thing to address. So don't worry about it at first. Make those mistakes. Learn from the mistakes. Trade on a demo and learn what happens when when you get rewarded for making mistakes, you'll do them again. So work them out. See that, in time, doing A, B, and C, which you shouldn't be doing, is really going to harm your performance. And I get this idea from how I got to that point, which was I used to overtrade. And it was really the final decision that I made as far as my trading approach was this, overtrading the psychological part. And it was basically, that's what was holding me back. So, I'd be up for a day and continue to trade and find myself down. Or I'd look at the day or the week and I'd say, if I didn't take these trades, which weren't really good setups, I was just overly aggressive in my entry, then I would be up more, or I would be in profit instead of loss, and so on. So I'd be making more if I was more patient and disciplined. So, it was once I was done sort of learning and I was starting to do well. So that's the final thing. And it was a matter of looking at it and saying, being honest, saying, that's it. I have to do it. It was not easy. I'm a person just like everybody else, and I want to get into this trade right now. But, so I had to make, what is my real criteria? I had to make black and white rules and know, what is rushed and what is not. What is an aggressive entry? What's a conservative entry? What is just too soon? What is too late? All that stuff had to be cleared out, and that is now shown in part of the method. So, that came towards the end. So that's what happened with me. It was look in the mirror and say, okay, I need to do this now. So I'm just like everybody. You may not have, the issue I had. Everybody's different. So this is what worked for me. This is how I finally, got this stuff under control. That's a big part of it. Okay. Do have some notes here. Make a conscious effort to be relaxed. So if you go into trading all hyped up, you feel like you want to be like Wall Street in the pit. You're pacing around your room. For me, at least, all I can tell you is my experience. Maybe everybody's different. For me, I'm consciously becoming this like sort of character. Like I'm getting into this state. I'm relaxed. I'm letting the method lead the way. I don't have any preconceived ideas. You have to come from, a peaceful place. You're not. There's no urgency. There's no urgency. I'm going to open my charts. I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't really been thinking about it. And I'm going to apply the analysis. I'm going to start my large time frames, A, B, C, D. I'm going to go through everything. and in the end, I'll see what the chart is telling me. If it's telling me to do something now or soon, perhaps, or not at all, okay, I'm going to listen to that. I'm going to do that for a couple hours and get on with my day. So it's a small part of my life. I don't think about it. Now, the thing is, while you're learning, I did have that time where I was obsessed with it. And I would spend the whole weekend, studying. And my wife, for the most part, allowed me to do that. So, I was lucky. But I really did have that time where, I was really obsessed with it. And that was, of course, helpful to learning. So, you can have that period where you're studying hard, you're in that learning phase, It's like college or whatever. It's your life, and you put a lot into it. You may lose some sleep, if you want to, get dedicated like that. But again, you get to that point. All this really applies to after this, when you know the method, you know what you're doing, et cetera. So again, it's after. And again, making sure you have that, oops, something's popping up on my screen. Let me just turn that off. So again, close this window. I don't think you see it, but it's all going nuts. Okay. So again, having that relaxed approach, and now I just messed up my notes. Here they are. Okay. Making a conscious effort to be relaxed. Make it something you enjoy in a relaxed way. And there's even more I'm going to get to about how to enjoy it. So again, don't approach it with any urgency. It's a relaxed mentality that you're simply, another way to put it, which you may find helpful, is the chart is the master. The charts are in charge. You don't go into your trading day with any preconceived ideas or any ideas to take any initiatives on anything by your own ideas. There's nothing for you to do. You are secondary to what the chart is saying. The chart is the master. You are the slave. Well, look at it that way. You'll be rewarded for listening. You'll be punished if you don't listen. So it's sort of a good analogy. Still got my notes. Another thing is thinking about the money. Again, for me, I'm not looking at my account balance. I'm not thinking about what I made this week or what I want to make or anything like that. I'm just listening to the charts. And as far as risk, I've already predetermined what I'm willing to risk per trade. What's a full position for me? So I already have that in mind, and I don't have to really think about the money thing. That's really good. That's something that really throws people off. I mean, if we were doing this for points in a video game, we'd probably be a lot more patient, right? Psychologically, we wouldn't have all this maybe baggage, right, that we take in. Oh, I have pressure in my life to do this. I have bills or something. That's going to affect your trading in a negative way. Maybe make you overly aggressive, overtrade, etc. You may be scared to lose money. So again, think about the money. It shouldn't be in your mind. You want to do what the charts say, and if you do so, you'll make money more than lose on each trade, and you'll be profitable. So that's the outcome. It's not really part of the process at all that needs to be thought about. So don't bring in any baggage with that. No pressure. Another thing is, a good thing to remind yourself, pretty much for years I would try to remember to remind myself this, particularly because I trade with the group a lot, and that I don't have to take a trade today. So you're telling yourself when you open your charts and get starting, one of the first thoughts is, I do not have to take a trade. It's perfectly okay if I don't take a trade today. I'm still a trader. I still went to work. Everything's perfect. And that's the only thing to do if there's no setup, is to take no trade. That is the proper action. Nothing. And it's okay, and it's going to happen, guaranteed. So if there are never any days where you don't take a trade, you're overtrading, you're ignoring things, you're doing things wrong. You must have days where you don't trade. You must. Because we're talking about a lack of activity on the day before non-farm payroll, and the Thursday before, the market is very quiet, or a Monday, holiday. Or it doesn't have to be a holiday, Monday, or very sloppy signals all over the place on the chart. I'm not seeing a consensus among smart money. So you will guaranteed have days where you shouldn't be trading. If you're trading every day, then you have a problem. So again, remind yourself at the beginning of the day, I don't have to take a trade today. It's perfectly fine. In fact, there should be days like that. Maybe this will be one. If not, I'll know. We'll find out. That's it. So that pretty much covers a lot of what I want to say here about the psychology. Hopefully that gives you a lot to work off of. The staying relaxed, not thinking about the money. knowing your rules first before you even think about this stuff. Come back to this video later when you're, in a month where you feel like you're able to, do the method as a, regular routine, and, come back and do this as a final last thing. Last things I want to say, it's a personal challenge. It's not just, I want to master this, little thing here and have a nice little skill in my life. There's a lot to it. One thing that I've heard saying, which is pretty good, is that you'll trade what you believe, meaning, or your results of your trading are going to reflect what you truly believe. So you may say, well, I'm going to trade this method, I'm going to learn it, and I see that it works, and I want to nail it here and do it right. If something in the back of your mind is saying, this isn't really going to work, I'm not good enough, I don't want to sort of alienate myself from maybe other people I know that don't make much money. There's a lot of psychological reasons that can go on, and that's going to affect your trading. So you have to dig deep and see what you really believe. I don't want to get into a whole personal empowerment lecture here, but that's something that you can do for yourself. The basic message from a lot of these people, I don't know, off the top of my head, Tony Robbins, these type of people. There's one, very basic message, which is you have to really believe that you deserve it. You have to be able to envision it. You have to make sure that there's nothing in your mind subconsciously that's stopping you. Maybe there's something you believe. You have to change the belief. We do. So, yeah, it's not to dwell on it too much. So you trade your beliefs. If you don't really believe it, it's not going to happen. You'll end up, it overtakes you in those, moments of weakness. So dig deep. Make sure you understand that you do deserve it. Everybody does. Whatever's in your head is crap that's telling you don't. And, what's the difference between you now and the person that is making a lot of money trading? What's the difference? Can you see that person? Be that person. You're that person now. Close the gap. Envision it and become that person. So, okay. Let's see what else I have here. Anything else? Other challenges in life can help you with this. You may see that, a good example is someone who's been in the military, has a certain discipline when they approach other things in life. So again, it's sort of a journey in life. And as you deal with stuff and we, learn to become more patient, maybe because, we learned it at our job, or we learned it with people, or we have kids and we learned something from that, about patience. This is part of your, personal strength is behind this. And, as you do well with other challenges in life, you'll see that it carries over into your trading, into your personality, that you're more controlled and mature and everything. So it's a whole process. What else? Holy Grail. So basically, what's the Holy Grail? 3 things that I've narrowed it down to. Knowledge. First of all, you have to have knowledge. You have to know what you're doing here, and that's the main point of this course, of course, is to have knowledge of the method and how to become profitable, where to buy and sell and get in and get out. Understanding what you're doing there. So gaining this knowledge, and of course, in my opinion, it's the best knowledge you can get. It's what I'm offering. So, knowledge. Second thing is patience, which again falls into the category of psychology. Patience, discipline, all that stuff. But basically, you can narrow it down to patience and discipline, right? Psychology. And number 3, courage. If I may use the word balls. So, you get to a point where, not even to a point, as you progress, you will have moments of fear. Fear that this trade isn't working out and I want to close it, or I want to do this and that. Fear that I'm going to, and you can manage the trade improperly. Fear of entering a larger position now that you're doing well and your trade positions are growing. you can hit a wall where you say, I'm afraid to risk this much money. Even though it's proper risk, and it's my risk plan, it's a lot of money, so I'm kind of afraid. I've had to deal with that. So that's balls, So summarize the knowledge to know what to do, the patience to only do things when you should be doing them, and the courage to do them when the time comes. So that's my holy grail. Okay, so that pretty much covers it. The last thing I want to say here is I mentioned throughout the video that the indicators, which, you can grab a pivot from anywhere, and you may already have one, but the point is I do want to make them available on the website, and I will. Any materials, of course, could be easily made available on the website. So it's in the process of being updated now in general, the website, so it's going to be a little time. So the best thing to do now, if you want my pivot indicator 50 EMA, of course, if you have any questions, whatever, you can email me, and I'll just send that to you. You can also contact me on Skype, Pete Fader. So the email is contact@myfxsource.com. Contact@myfxsource.com. So for now, you bought the course, you want your charts to look like mine, exactly, I can send you the template even. Then just email me, and I'll send you that. Or contact me on Skype. Okay, guys, this pretty much ends it here. So, not to leave you hanging. I'm available. I'm not going anywhere. If you have any questions, whatever you want to do, you can contact me on Skype. And I really want to make sure that that this is a complete, piece of information here. So that's going to get you going. So, I expect to hear from some of you, and I look forward to that. Okay, guys, best of luck in your trading. Take care.